They come most days. Today we had 2 boats arrive on the islands. And people are still losing their lives. 13th of February, we lost a 9-year-old girl. Fell from the boat. On the 6th of March, her father and his 2 twin boys, aged 4 years. We lost them all. In the Mediterranean, people are losing their lives at an alarming rate. Just yesterday, 45 people died off of Morocco. Most times the media doesn't report. It has become the normal for people to drown in the Mediterranean. Some media and politicians in Europe are responsible for the rise in fascism in Europe. They use labels to degrade these suffering people, like migrants and the boat people, etc. These are human beings. They are the same as us. They are mothers, fathers, grandparents. I have helped people seeking sanctuary who are wearing Armani suits, women carrying Prada handbags. Many are very highly educated, and the students that had to give up their education because of war. I've helped rap musicians, break dancers, doctors, bankers, solicitors, lawyers, judges. They come from all walks of life. The living conditions they come to live in Europe at the moment is disgusting. We as Europeans should be ashamed of ourselves. People are dying in tents, summer tents, in the winter. People are living 4, 5 families in tents. We have these thin isoboxes, these mobile homes. 20 women living in one. I know a doctor, just recently, a young lady, she's a doctor, and she's living with 6 other people in one room in an isobox of 20. It's unbelievable. It shouldn't happen. We're meant to be civilized people. I grew up in Europe. I grew up in a civilized society. What has happened in the last 4 years to our society is wrong. The hate coming out of our governments has to be stopped. Saving lives is not negotiable. Saving someone's life is not a crime. Helping suffering people is not a crime. The people that are helping suffering people, they're being criminalized. We're being abused by the governments for saving lives. This is wrong. It's disgusting. It should never happen anywhere in the world. Saving lives comes from here. The governments of today are making it a crime to be a humanitarian. You have politicians here in Italy trying to make it a crime to help other human beings. If these politicians' families went on a boat trip and the boat started to sink, would they stand by? Would they arrest me if I saved their families? Would they arrest me if I didn't save their families? Would they just stand there and watch their loved ones die? In this situation, the only crime being committed is by the politicians. What has been and still is happening in the Mediterranean is a crime against humanity. There are 11 crimes against humanity, and part of the 11 crimes are persecution on political, religious, racial, forcible transfer of populations, and certain acts that are deliberately committed as part of a widespread and systematic attack directed against any civilian or any identifiable part of a civilian population. This has happened year in, year out for the last 3 years from politicians. They should be in The Hague, and by now they should be in prison. But they still carry on with their hate. And we have to stop it. The International Crime Court has the jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for their crimes against humanity. We all know who these politicians are, that undermining and destroying moral values of Europe, and they need to be dealt with. Okay, I and my wife are great believers in the empowerment of suffering people. They can, when giving a little help, look after themselves. We help run 3 warehouses with 45 other people who mostly live in the notorious Moria camp on Lesvos. These people run the Hope Project. Not only are these people suffering themselves, they are helping others, including Greek people that are poor and Greek people that are suffering. They have meetings every week solving their problems and coming up with ideas on how to make projects work better. It's great for me to see, and it's nice for me to help work alongside these people. They're just normal human beings helping human beings. And the way we're treating them in Europe is really bad. It should never happen. I've met so many nice people in the last 3 years, it's incredible. And I've met a lot of horrible people, believe me. My family has been attacked time and time again by fascists. I had to lose my daughter and get her into England because of the fascists want to kill her and rape her. I tell you a story. I had one fascist, he owned an oil company, he still does own an oil company. He attacked me for 18 months, he attacked my family for 18 months. He said he'd put a target on my head because I help human beings. Now, I could have stood back, like most people do. I was frightened. Believe me, I was. This guy has a lot of money, and this guy has a lot of power. I could have sat back, I could have run, I could have hid, I could have stopped helping human beings. But it's not in my nature. And I fought this guy. I don't have any money. I am not very well educated. But I wasn't going to let someone dictate to me that I cannot save lives and I cannot help another person. This man, on the 26th of May 2017, I got to court in England and I won the case. This man now, he's a criminal. He can't get into America. We have to stand up to these people. We can do it. Don't be frightened. Fascists frighten. They bully. That's what they do. These are uneducated people. And we need to stand up to them, and we need to put the world back on track. Last year, I mean, we're being abused all the time for helping people, the humanitarians, not just in Greece, all around Europe. Last year, on the 22nd of April, in the square, in the capital city of Lesvos, in Mytilene, we had 127 Afghanis. They were so frightened to live in Moria camp that they moved out and they went and pitched tents in a square in the capital city. These were families. They had babies, children, mothers, wives, grandparents. On the 22nd of April last year, the police surrounded them in the square. They encased them in a circle. Fascists arrived on buses, threw rocks and Molotov cocktails, which is benzene bombs, over the police's head into these 127 Afghanis. This went on for 7 hours. The people could not get out because they were encased by the police. The police did not stop the fascists, they let it go on. At 4 o'clock in the morning, the fascists went home. The police went in and beat up the people. 35 people were in hospital. When the people went back to Moria camp, they were told they had to go back there. They were threatened that if anything was said about this incident, that they would be deported to Turkey. This is a crime against humanity inside Europe, and it should be dealt with. It shouldn't be hidden. And this is only one incident. There are hundreds of incidences right throughout Europe being covered up. The people themselves, the suffering people, are too frightened to say what is going on. We have a new arrivals used to come into a bio camp in Chios, and they would be put into cages for days. They would have to do everything within that cage in front of other human beings. Can you imagine? This is meant to be Europe. It's time the media stopped hiding this. It's time it stopped happening. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen here at all. We are civilized people. I have people saying to me they would rather go back home and die. I've seen the bodies. I've seen too much suffering, and I'm still seeing it today. Too many years, and the suffering is caused by our governments here and the media. This time has stopped. And every one of us can stand up. Every one of us. My grandfather said to me many years ago, he said, Eric, even the Queen of England has to wipe her own backside. That means no one is more important than you. Every one of us can do our bit, and every one of us can change the world in many situations. Thank you.
Grazie Eric.